Nirvana is one of those bands you need to be slightly above average as a musician to cover, at least decently. As someone who's played in bands since I was a teenager, I've seen and played my share of bad Nirvana covers. What classifies them as bad can vary. It can be an individual member, the whole band, the song they chose, or how they went about covering it, which in most cases, they're just playing it the exact same way. But this doesn't just apply to shitty DIY bands. Anyone has the potential to make Kurt Cobain roll in his grave. Because today, we're gonna look at the most disastrous Nirvana covers. The only rule, it's gotta be someone I know can take it. I'm not filling this video with a bunch of middle school cover bands playing Come As You Are. That's mean. Anyone I make fun of has more money, fame, and success than I'll ever have, so they'll be fine. All apologies for what you're about to see. Starting with Limp BIZKIT's a good warm-up. It's like doing your stretches before a workout. You don't really need to put effort into making fun of them. This shit just writes itself. Limp BIZKIT's got a long history of covering Nirvana. They've done Heart-Shaped Box, You Know You're Right, and my favorite, Smells Like Teen Spirit. I say favorite because it's the worst out of all of them. I found a video of them playing it at Lowlands in 2015. It starts out okay. The band walks on stage and does a covers medley with Crazy Train, Master of Puppets, Welcome to the Jungle, but it goes on way too long. It feels like you're listening to a dad rock cover band. I also love this exchange where they unenthusiastically decide on Teen Spirit.
How about some Nirvana, maybe? Or maybe not.
The intro's okay, I dig the energy from the crowd, but Fred Durst passes the vocals to the guitar player. Now, normally I'm more than happy to see Fred Durst pass up the opportunity to sing, but this guy isn't doing much better. It's clear this man doesn't know how to actually sing. His voice cracks multiple times, his pronunciation is dumb, and you can feel the struggle during the choruses. Besides not being able to sing, he's trying way too hard to sound like Kurt. His inflection, his range, you're gonna see this a lot throughout the video, but just saying it right here, for any aspiring musicians, please for the love of God, do not imitate a singer when you cover their music. Kurt's style was so much its own thing, it's pretty blatant when someone takes a lot of cues from it. This applies to every instrument, same thing with Les Claypool for bassists, but it's especially the case with singers. I know Limp BIZKIT's a low-hanging fruit. Literally, there's a joke about him in Sonic Movie 2. But I need my hatred for this band to be known. I'm tired of people ironically liking them. Like, why are they still headlining festivals in 2025? Why would you pay money to see this? But yeah, this sucked. The only thing I liked about this video were the 8 watermarks and Fred Durst Jr. in the crowd. Okay, this one barely qualifies as a cover, because for all intents and purposes, A$AP Rocky just played the original Smells Like Teen Spirit during a concert.
Make some noise for Kurt Cobain and Nirvana! Make some noise!
He didn't have a band playing the parts, he wasn't singing the lyrics, him and the guys on stage just hype people up over the mics. So technically, they are putting their own spin on the song. It might just be them yelling randomly while lurking on stage, but again, technically, it's a different interpretation of the song. I know this is a massive stretch, but it's just so awkward I couldn't not talk about it. I don't even listen to A$AP Rocky, so I feel like kind of a poser with this one, but at least it's got a cozy spot in this video. And to give it credit, it's arguably the best sounding cover out of all these. I know technically it's not a cover, but you know, technically. Full stop, the Chili Peppers are my favorite band of all time. If you thought I had strong opinions about Weezer from my last video, that shit doesn't compare. I'm gonna save all this for a way bigger video in the future, but because of how much I love them, I have a moral obligation to point out when they bomb. And most of the time, it's because of Anthony Kiedis. Like this scenario right here where they covered Teen Spirit. Yes, I know, most of the entries are gonna be Teen Spirit. I tried doing a 1 performance per song as a rule, but nah. So get used to hearing that. Anthony's voice and style doesn't fit this song at all. I know that seems hypocritical since I gave the Limp BIZKIT guy shit for trying too hard to sound like Kurt, but Anthony is so much of himself, his style doesn't fit anything that isn't the Chili Peppers. Legit, this man hasn't been in any other bands or projects outside of him. His voice is just so pitchy and it doesn't sound good being drawn out like this. Thankfully, John Frusciante takes over during the chorus. His voice definitely suits grunge much more. But after that, they called it. Probably realized it wasn't a vibe and saved Anthony from further embarrassment. Overall, this one isn't the worst thing in the world, just kind of uncomfortable. I'll give Anthony credit for not trying to sound like Kurt, but sometimes you just shouldn't do certain things. Like covering Nirvana. Out of all the performances I'm talking about today, this one is definitely the most infamous. The time Puddle of Mudd covered About a Girl for Sirius XM. Side note, if you ever meet somebody who unironically enjoys more than 3 Puddle of Mudd songs, take that as a red flag. I remember when this performance dropped, it was torn to shreds. Memes and edits were everywhere, it was all over rock news. The original video was even unlisted, you can only find re-uploads. And for anyone who hasn't seen this and thinks I'm over-exaggerating, this is the reason why you shouldn't imitate singers. I have no clue what possessed Wes Scantlin to do this, but there is a clear struggle at work here. His voice is straining, trying to hit every note, he cracks multiple times, he's singing way too much through his nose, and he gets beat right in the face. To give just a schmither of credit, the rest of the band sounds pretty good, especially the dude on the bongos, but that doesn't matter at all. Wes is still unbearable. It almost feels like he did this intentionally. I don't care how big your ego is or how delusional you are, if you heard yourself doing this, you wouldn't want the rest of the world to hear it either. Also, there's videos of them covering About a Girl from like 15 years ago, and it sounds way better. So is this a classic troll move from Wes Scantlin? Nope. He just sucked. He was interviewed about the performance a few years later, acknowledging it sucked and giving a reason why, stating he was tired after doing 6 songs back to back. Getting tired after 6 songs as a singer is crazy, and second, this sounds like more than being just a little tired. So, thankfully, Wes isn't beating himself up about it. I'd be happy for him, but this is Wes Scantlin we're talking about. This dude is like the armpit of music as a concept. His controversy section makes up 3/4 of his Wikipedia page. I know they say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but nothing's flattering about this. Okay, I have a tendency to label tons of shit as the funniest thing I've ever seen. I said that about Fear on SNL, I said that about this car crash video, but this takes the cake. Take That's cover of Teen Spirit. I know next to nothing about the band besides Robbie Williams used to be in it. I still gotta watch Better Man, but yeah, zip, nothing. I don't know if they ever said anything about this or explained why, hypothetically this performance would show up in a video about bad Nirvana covers, but to be straight up, it's for the best. What I'm about to show you is equal parts bad, funny, and unexplainable. All the members are bombing in their own special way. You got the drummer playing like 7 BPM too fast. It's not enough to be a stylistic choice, but just enough to be annoying, and he also beats the shit out of his cymbals. The bassist, whose tone, while faithful to a grunge sound, clashes so hard with everything else, especially with the real star of the show, the guitarist. I'm fully convinced this dude learned guitar like 5 minutes before the show. Here's a Juilliard audition reel showing off his talent. Why did he play clean the whole time? Why did he do that? The singer at the very least isn't killing my ears with a Kurt impression. He just does a lot of goofy shit. There's so much wrong with this cover. You can literally find something new to hate about it every time you rewatch it. I don't know why you'd subject yourself to this more than once, but there's an infinite amount of reasons to hate it if you ever needed one. That's why I refuse to do any more research about it. No answer, reason, or excuse for all of this would be satisfying or conclusive. And the ironic thing, I didn't find this on some random website or Reddit post from 2009. No, this whole thing is on Take That's official Vivo YouTube channel, completely unrestricted too. So even though I'm basking in its mystique, it's not hard to find at all. And I'll give them props for that. Just giving this borderline incriminating evidence to the public. If I was them, I'd scrub every trace of this cover from existence. Maybe there's a crazy story for why this sounds bad, like these are genetic clones of the band that escaped from their cages and took over the show or something. But again, I'm gonna be willingly ignorant with this one. It's for the best. Recently, SNL had their 50th anniversary concert, and since I've been on the topic of SNL, I figured it was appropriate to talk about it. I didn't watch it, obviously. I saw Sabrina Carpenter and Paul Simon had a duet, and to me, that doesn't feel like a genuine artistic collaboration, more like a product. But one performance I did see was Post Malone covering Teen Spirit with the remaining members of Nirvana. That's quite a responsibility, but, you know, I'm sure Post was up to the task. If that Nirvana cover show he did over quarantine was anything to go by, maybe he was the right person for the job. Nope. Unfortunately, Post falls into the trap of doing a Kurt impression, but it's made even worse because he's doing that SpongeBob vibrato. That technique sounds great in his own music, but with Nirvana, it's like oil and water mixing. He does okay in the verses, but the choruses, oh, they're bad. There's even a part where he's late for a cue and misses the first line of a chorus. How do you do that? How do you mess up one of the most popular songs of all time? Even his guitar solos sucked. When he turns on his effect pedal, the signal gets way quieter and pans completely into the right ear. I can barely hear it in the mix. Hell, I could barely hear Post singing by the end. I swear they're like lowering his volume on the soundboard. They're saving everybody from this embarrassment. So yeah, all around a bad performance by Post. It's not the worst out of all these. Puddle of Mud's still gonna give you tinnitus way faster. But it's the circumstances of bombing in front of Nirvana that makes it so bad. And the reason I'm stressing is because I've seen people unanimously defend this performance. Everyone's like,
Oh, they look so happy. They should do a reunion tour with Post.
First off, Pat Smear has never not smiled in his life. Chris looks more like Dr. Phil than anything, and all the Foo Fighters shows for the past year were canceled after Dave cheated on his wife, so I'm sure he would have said yes to anything. And could you imagine how bad that tour would be? Imagine Post singing Stay Away like SpongeBob. That's disgusting. I'm probably gonna get shit for this section since it's a pretty special occasion when Nirvana reunites. Some people want more of that, you know, full-scale tours, a new album. Maybe it could work, just not with Post. He had a lot of potential, but yeah, wow, this was just bad. Alright, Kurt needs a break from rolling around. Thank you guys for watching. I'm sure this video was hard to get through. I don't blame anyone who clicked off early. Let this be a friendly reminder for why Nirvana covers are tough to pull off. When you got a style that's so recognizable and so established, it's easy to tell when someone tries too hard to imitate it. Always cover a song as if you wrote it yourself. That doesn't just apply to Nirvana, but like 95% of music. Just don't be like these fools and you'll be fine. That's all I got. See ya.